Let us look at the characteristics of media platforms. The transition from analog to the digital modes of media made it more powerful. Digital media platforms have become shareable, interactive, collaborative and broadcasted live. According to Marshall McLuhan, it is a framework which changes with each new technology and not just the picture within the frame. The media platforms have been working in tandem with other media tools to reach the maximum audience. The general characteristics of multimedia platforms are one is real time. Real time communication and media content circulations were happening with the media content, because multimedia uses digital technology in both linear and non-linear content offered by the various platforms. A real time interaction can be achieved. The other one is digital. Digitization made media content production affordable. The digital process allowed to more innovation in creating effective media content. Some of the possibilities include better quality of content, more durable media storage and networked file sharing or content sharing. Interactivity. These mediums are interactive. This interactivity has been more effective with the amalgamation of different media platforms. Users' participation has become more meaningful and active. Interactivity can be seen in varying degree of allowing users to control and participate. For example, users can schedule the time to access media, the order, the speed, the format, the content quality and the form of media itself. They can modify or enrich the content of the information. The most importantly, the actual processing of users' input in the form of data and cookies helps in understanding the user preferences and tastes. Integrated media. Integration of media platforms will help in accessing the same content in different formats. For example, the online newspapers or television content will have the integrated media platforms of text, video, audio, graphics and animation. It will also integrate a television program in a newspaper application, maybe with a QR code you can watch. The networked audience. Internet has enabled the media platforms and users to connect seamlessly. New media platforms offer better space for the audience interactions among themselves as well as with the content creation. It helps in improving the content. The discussion acts as a feedback to improve the content. The networked audience is active and highly interactive in sharing, commenting, voting and downloading the content. It has enabled the audience to make choices and modify the content also. The convergence of media platforms. Multimedia platforms are convergent not only because they offer an integrated content using various components of media, but they also use different media platforms by hyperlinking the existing content. For example, every media is using social media for the archiving of the content or also promotions and engaging users by giving the hyperlinks to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube, so that you can interact and get closer to the audience. So, media as a magic multiplier. While describing the potential of mass media, Wilbur Schramm said that it would act as a magic multiplier. It becomes possible with the internet based media. The concept of viral is becoming a phenomena with the network mass media. In this, message can be transmitted in real time and multiplied by sharing and downloading it. According to the stimulus response theory, it will be exaggerate the message and motivates the receiver to act upon it. As a result, it will become a collective response to the media message. It may also lead to confusion, misinformation and chaos in the society. The best example is the WhatsApp. The other one is experimental and immersive. Most of the media platforms are offering extended technological features to experience the media content. These technologies includes virtual reality, augmented reality and mixed media reality. These media offers hybrid and hyper reality for the users. There are wearable media which are now glued to the audience body. Archiving, retrieval, sharing. In this, the media platforms will have the cloud space to archive the content, for making it available for the audience to retrieve, share and download it. For example, in the past it was difficult to access old newspapers and television content, but now they can be accepted free of cost or paying minimum fee by audience. It has improved not only the user freedom, but also the media research. For example, on the go, maybe a streaming platform like Netflix or Amazon or YouTube, you can download offline and you can view the content without internet, without using your phone's actual the storage. Now, let us see the media content production on multiple platforms. The content production for multiple media platforms is governed by the features offered by the platform and the audience it aims at addressing. Media production for multiple media platforms takes into account various factors such as resolution, aspect ratio and interactivity. In a world of information overflow, it becomes necessary to map how media affects the society. Mediatization argues that the media shapes and frames the processes and discourses of political communication as well as the society in which that communication takes place. In this framework, an important aspect of modernization is the development of media, beginning with a change in communication media and proceeding to the subordination of the power of prevailing influential institutions. As a consequence of this process, institutions and whole societies are shaped by and dependent on mass media. Understanding this is essential while creating any content for a media platform that affects a large number of population. Now, let us discuss the audience in the multiple media platforms. The audience on multiple media platforms are a collective of co-creators and consumers. Thereby, one has to move away from traditional scholarship on audience in the communication process and look at production, audience and text as an interlink in the creation of cultural meanings. Research on media audience has two primary focus. One is centered on the context of media use, the other on the interpretation of media content. We may recall how Umberto Eco stresses the audience to interpret media text by drawing on their cultural resources. This kind of cultural interpretation, where we reject the linearity of mass communication to integrate a cultural framework and elements of reception, aesthetics, we look at the way messages are encoded or decoded and how different mediums work with what varying degree of effect. We have come a long way from the day of hypodermic needle theory, where the audience were considered naive and passive, whereas this passivity put the audience at the end of the spectrum. It gave prominence to media communication as an all-in-all source of information, with reception studies and audience researchers occupying the significant part of communication research in the last few decades. It has been proved that audience have moved further away from the passivity paradigm and have not only actively been consuming, but also producing information and content. Mechanism of feedback made the researchers realize that how audience participate equally in the process of communication. With the development in technology, the everyday sociality of people's lives have changed and the way they consume information. The coming up of digital technologies and internet have paved the way for interactivity on the part of the audience. It has led to co-creation of materials and active consumption. We have previously discussed how audiences have more control in non-linear multimedia platforms as it provides varying degree of choices. However, with the convergence of multimedia platforms, the recent debates around media audiences have once again questioned the available choices and how in a mediated world audiences are parallel with passivity. This oxymoron is the current state of audience research in media and communications. Although it is only in due time that we would be in a better state to side with one argument or the other. And in her chapter, The Changing Nature of Audiences, Sonia Livingstone relates it already shows clearly that audiences were not the same before and will not be the same again. Talking of changing nature of media audience, she relates, it is already proving easier to investigate the context within which people use media as objects than it is to identify the interpretative work with which audiences engage with the media as a text. Thank you very much for your patience listening. I hope you learn some understanding about the media content production and introduction to the multiple media platforms. Thank you and namaskar.